Hello everyone. Welcome to another English Solutions for Business and Life video. Today, we will be looking at the Global Beginner Book, Unit 1, Grammar section. We will look at two topics. First one, regular plural nouns. And the second one, the expression what's. If you have questions, you can watch this video as many times as you want. Now pay attention. Let's begin. First, let's look at regular plural nouns. A plural noun is when you have more than one thing or nouns. For example, a book. With regular plural nouns, you will add an S at the end most of the time. Here we have a book. One book. But if we have more books, we would add an S at the end and say 3 books. 3 books. The same happens with other nouns. For example, girl would turn into girls. And more than one boy would turn into boys. Girls, boys. Now, this rule is the simplest rule. It's very simple. There are more rules. For example, when a word ends with an S, with a CH, or with an X, you add ES after the word. S, CH, or X. For example, bus would turn into buses. Watch would turn into watches. Tax would turn into taxes. Buses, watches, taxes. Now, this also applies to words that end in an E. If a word ends with an E, you add an S at the end, so now it's ES. For example, base would turn into bases. Now, another rule is when a word ends in a Y. When this happens, we erase the Y and we add IES at the end. For example, city, baby, candy. These are all singular nouns. Now, let's turn them into plural nouns. First, take off the Y and add IES at the end. City turns into cities. Baby turns into babies. Candy turns into candies. And so on. Remember, this applies to every word that ends with a Y, but that has a consonant before it. Consonant before the Y. Here we have a consonant, another consonant. Something else important when we're talking about singular nouns is when we use a or an before noun. Singular noun. For example, we looked at bus. The rule says that when a word starts with a consonant, we use a before it. So a word that starts with a consonant, this is C for consonant, has to have an a before it if it's singular noun. Now, if it starts with a vowel, we use an. For example, address, an address, like this. So that's another rule. Let's look at an example of a sentence. There are many buses and cars in the city. There are many buses and cars in the city. So, can you find the plural words? Buses and cars. And there's only one city in this sentence. Now, let's look at the expression what. First, let's explain what is what. What is a conjunction of two words. What is. If we put them together, we can say what. That's what it means. Now, we use what to ask about things or information. For example, if you want to know what another person's name is, you would ask, "What's your name?" What's your name? Here we have the information we want to know, and here is the question. Remember to put a question mark at the end of the sentence. Now, we can answer our name. My name is Daniel. We could also ask for more information. For example, a phone number, an address, or a postcode. You could ask another person for this information. You just have to put these words after or at the end of this question. We will use this as an example. What's your postcode? What's your postcode? What's your address? What's your address? What's your phone number? What's your phone number? Sorry. That's how we use what. We use what to ask about things. So that's everything for this video of the grammar section. We looked at regular plural nouns and the expression what's. Remember, you can watch this video more than one time and ask your teacher about this topic if you have more questions. See you on the next video.